Welcome, everyone. Today's hearing of the Minnesota Senate Subcommittee on Veterans from Monday, March 9th, 2026 is now in order, and a quorum is present. Members, we have a very busy, active, and I think fascinating day before us. I am going to ask most testifiers to try to keep their comments as concise as possible, given the number of people we get to talk to and the issues we get to talk about. But our first presentation today will be from the Department of Military Affairs, a presentation on bonding requests, value of state tuition benefits, and an update from the Cyber Protection Cell on response to the St. Paul cyber attack. We are lucky to have with us some very significant folks in the Department of Military Affairs. So General Menke, if you would, please, feel free to introduce yourself and commence your testimony when you're ready.
All right, Chair Putnam, committee members, thank you for having us today. With me today, I have Scott Reuter, the Executive Director of Military Affairs, and then seated to my left is Lieutenant Reppy Strand. She is a company XO of our 224 Transportation Company, and she's going to talk a little bit today after we're done going through the bonding bill about her benefit that she's received through some of our state tuition reimbursements, which this team generously allocates our service members. So first up is the governor's bonding requests, and today we've got $3.5 million for design money for the Duluth hangar, as well as asset preservation. And Mr. Reuter is going to run us through that a little bit more.
Good afternoon, Chair Putnam. Committee members, I'm Scott Reuter, the Executive Director for the Department of Military Affairs. I'd like to first address our #1 bonding priority, which is the design funding for a new hangar at the 148th Fighter Wing in Duluth. In the upper right-hand quadrant of the slide we're showing is pictured 3 existing hangars which were built in the 1950s for the Duluth Air Force Base, which was located originally on the west side of the Duluth International Airport. The 3 hangars were moved to the east side of the airport to the current location at the 148th Fighter Wing in the 1980s. The hangars were originally built for Lockheed F-94 aircraft, which were shorter in length and height compared to our current F-16 Block 50 aircraft. Over the years, the 3 hangars have developed structural and safety issues. Water infiltrates during all seasons, creating electrical and safety hazards and challenging the working environment around the aircraft. In the winter, ice forms near the entrances, around the folding doorways, and between the structures. Lightning protection for these buildings is inadequate to protect the aircraft and personnel. These hazards pose a risk to our Minnesota Air National Guardsmen and the aircraft. The facility also currently operates under a permanent waiver from the United States Air Force for the wingtip clearance because of the inadequate size of the hangar. To the right of the picture is a rendering of the new proposed hangar, which will be designed not only to fit our current F-16 Block 50 fighters, but also for F-35s or any kind of next generation fighter that the 148th may receive. The design for the project is $3.5 million, and if funded, will significantly increase the scoring to compete for federal military construction funding. The 148th Fighter Wing is a significant asset to the community and the state. It is currently the 7th largest employer in Duluth area. Its fire department is the only fire department that supports the Duluth International Airport and its mutual aid agreements with the surrounding communities. The 148th Fighter Wing's Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team provides support to civil authorities throughout the state. Altogether, both the fire department and the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team provides over $3.7 million in mutual aid support to Minnesota annually.
And right now we're at a point where the Air Force has said they are going to field F-35s to 2 National Guard fighter wings. And we know that Duluth is very competitive for that. But this hangar, if funded for design, would give us more credit in the scoring matrix as we move forward and hopefully recapitalize the wing and thus preserve the flying mission for the 148th, the fire department for the airport, as well as the surrounding committee, as well as the other things that Mr. Reuter mentioned about. We have been working through this for a while, and if the bonding money is in the design and complete, it puts it at a very high percentage that the rest of the structure will be built with federal dollars and then maintained with federal dollars. So this relatively, it's $3.5 million is a lot of money, but it's when you look at what this money will return on the investment, I think it's money well spent for not only Duluth, but for the state of Minnesota as well as our nation.
Now I'd like to address our asset preservation request. This map depicts our 60 Army facilities locations throughout the state. To the right side of the map, you see a breakdown of our facilities. 45% of the facilities are 60+ years in age, with 6 of them over 100 years old. This causes significant challenges for many of those facilities have numerous maintenance issues, are not conducive to current Army operations, and were built in a time when women didn't serve in those units, which means they lack appropriate facilities such as comfort rooms and proper restrooms and shower facilities. The National Guard is roughly 40% of the Army's operational force, yet receives only 5% of the federal MILCON construction funding. That means the Minnesota National Guard can expect to receive military construction funding for a new armory facility once every 10 to 12 years. With 60 current facilities, and if federal funding remains the same, it'll take over 600 years for us to replace these current facilities. Currently, the only funding source we have for these aging facilities is through our state maintenance appropriation. The Department of Military Affairs receives $10 million annually, which $1.8 million of that is designated to both air wings for their maintenance and repairs, leaving $8.2 million for our annual Army National Guard budget. When you deduct our annual expenses, we have $1.6 million remaining in funds for projects and repairs. Not much money considering the age and number of our facilities and today's current construction costs. The good news is the state never has to pay 100% of our facility construction and maintenance costs. The Minnesota National Guard receives roughly $30 million each year in federal construction and maintenance funding. The block below the scale in the diagram reflects the federal and state share for each type of facility. All readiness centers, or our armories, are a 50-50 split. Readiness centers located at the Arden Hills Army Training Site are a 75% federal, 25% state split. And all field maintenance shops, Army aviation support facilities, and majority of facilities at Camp Ripley Training Center are 100% federally funded. What this means is that every dollar the state appropriates or funds for our readiness centers is matched by the federal government. This $2.5 million asset preservation request, along with the federal government's match, really amounts to $5 million that can go a long way in getting after some of our significant maintenance concerns.
So the bottom line again is we're asking for $6 million in the bonding bill for these two projects. And Mr. Chair, if there's any questions on this, maybe we could field these at this time.
Members, any questions or comments for General Menke or Mr. Roeder on the bonding proposal specifically? Senator Howe.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, General Menke, for the explanation of just exactly how far these dollars go and what that means to us, bringing those federal dollars to Minnesota. And we don't get many federal dollars coming back to Minnesota. So this is a real win for us, and it's a good investment for us to actually compound those dollars here in the state of Minnesota. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Howe. Members, any other questions or comments to General Menke? Thank you, General Menke. Keep going.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Howe, at this point, I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Riddy Strand. As I mentioned, she is the company XO of our 224 Transportation Company out of Faribault, Minnesota, and she's going to talk a little bit about her story. Lieutenant?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. I am First Lieutenant Nicole Riddy Strands, and I am honored to be here today to speak with you about the state tuition reimbursement program. I enlisted in the Minnesota Army National Guard in 2019 before commissioning in 2022. I am one of 10 in my family to have served in the United States military. I've served in 3 different units to include my current role as the executive officer of the 224 Transportation Company out of Faribault, Minnesota. And one of the main reasons that I joined the Minnesota National Guard was due to the education benefits that they have. My projected civilian career has extensive civilian education. As a veterinarian, I have to have a bachelor's and a doctorate, which would cause a large financial burden to myself at such a young age, and so I joined the Minnesota National Guard. I am privileged to have been able to use the state tuition reimbursement program to pay for the 3 years it took me to get my undergraduate bachelor's degree, as well as the first year of my doctorate. State tuition reimbursement program has saved me thousands of dollars of my projected student loan debt, and it also allowed me financial flexibility to pursue a passion of mine, studying diseases spread between humans and animals with a master's of public health. While this is my story, I hear similar stories across the formations I've served with, highlighting the benefits of pursuing education while serving and using STR. It has been an honor serving the state of Minnesota, and I thank you for listening to me today.
Thank you, Lieutenant Reep-Strands. Members, any questions? for a testifier? Comments? Senator Kupek.
Sure. Thanks. I know Senator Putnam and I have both done work on veterinarians, so thanks. I'm just curious, where are you thinking when you're all said and done that you're going to end up, working in this state? Rural areas really need veterinarians, so there's a plug for rural areas.
Lieutenant Reepstrand, just so you know, Senator Kupek and I are going to fight over you because of the absence of veterinarians in greater Minnesota. So you're up. Which one are you going to choose?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator, I am passionate in wildlife, and so I'm hoping to go more into a not traditional form of veterinary work, including government for disease and like CDC in that sense, Mr. Chair and Senator.
Senator Kupek?
Darn, that sounds very noble.
Members, any other questions or comments? Okay. We have 2 more testifiers, General Menke, is that accurate? Just one.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, we did have one other that is under the weather today that could make it. So Senior Master Mensos, she's another one that you can read her testimony here, but she joined the National Guard because of the state tuition reimbursement program, and she's now working on her law degree using the same program itself. She's a first-generation college graduate within her family. So she was going to testify to the same thing, but under the weather today.
Thank you, Mr. Roeder. I will say, Ms. Roeder and General Menke, that in our conversations at the end of last session, it became incredibly clear just how important the tuition benefit is. And we had a very strong advocate on that front in Senator Duckworth, who unfortunately is not with us today. Oh, he's online. All right, then. But he was a tremendous advocate for this resource, and you all were as well. And so I'm glad that we were able to do what we were able to last session, but it was because of your advocacy. So thank you for that. So I believe we're switching gears now. We're talking cyber protection, yeah? Senator Howe.
Thank you. So believe it or not, when I got out of the Navy 40-some years ago, my VA benefits really were worthless. I think I got $15. I think I put in $1,500 into the tuition assistance program, and I got $4,500 back. And when I ran out of that $4,500, of course, tuition was a lot cheaper, I'll admit that. But when I ran out of that $4,500, where did I go? I joined the Army National Guard for the tuition assistance program, which basically gave me my bachelor's degree. So it's been around for a long time. It's been highly successful. And in this state, got to continue to support that program. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Howe. General Menke, on to cyber protection, if you would, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So just introduce yourself, Mr.
Mr. Chair, committee members, I am First Lieutenant Nikki Wise, C3 Planner, part of the Minnesota National Guard Cyber Coordination Cell. And before I jump into my presentation, I just want to briefly introduce our team. So sitting with me to my left is Chief Matthew Harberts. He is our technical lead. Next to him on the screen is Lieutenant Colonel Brian Morgan. He is our C3 director and oversees the C3 program, followed by myself, the C3 planner, and then finally Chief Mark O'Reilly. He is our C3 program developer. So collectively, our team makes up a team of 4 for the C3, and our mission is to really ensure that the Minnesota National Guard Cyber Operation Forces are prepared to respond to both state or federal military requests for cyber operations support. So how do we do this? We do this through 3 primary lines of effort: optimize, cultivate, and equip. We are trying to optimize our cyber force training through the development of cyber skills planned against the most significant threats. What are these threats? We're looking at ransomware response, vulnerability assessment. We also want to make sure that our cyber forces can perform network security monitoring, as well as threat hunting and clearing. And a big concern right now is operational technology, or OT, specifically in the domain of critical infrastructure. For those of you that aren't aware of OT, this is the hardware and software that is used to monitor and control physical processes. This is commonly seen in both water treatment facilities as well as power plants. Because these systems are, of course, essential to our communities, we want to make sure that our cyber operators are fully qualified to support these operations. Second line of effort is cultivate. We want to cultivate and maintain strong relationships built on mutual trust. We do this by working closely with both state and federal partners through joint exercises, tabletop scenarios, and cyber training events. We also support cyber intel sharing with the BCA Fusion Center. Chief Riley sits there 2 days a week and helps strengthen that relationship to improve information sharing, specifically within cyber threat intel. These engagements allow us to continually validate our partner expectation and ensure that we are fulfilling our commitment. Finally, equip. We want to ensure that when our cyber forces are called to support the state, that they have equipment that's ready to deploy at a moment's notice. One key capability that the C3 provides, specifically with our cyber incident response kits, is out-of-band internet connectivity. This is performed using our Cradle Point, which connects to a FirstNet service. This gives our teams clean, trusted network to operate from, because oftentimes when we deploy, it's into an environment where the existing network may have been compromised. This is our chain of command. As you can see at the bottom, the C3 team is myself, Chief Harberts, and Chief Riley, and we report directly to Lieutenant Colonel Brian Morgan, C3 Director, who reports directly to J3, Colonel McRae, Operations. Of note, we are in blue. That's because we are state military and, of course, state funded. And this provides some great resources to the state, specifically because we are state military. We can go out and help advise entities such as state, local, tribal, territorial entities, and provide resources to those entities as well. Now transitioning to our cyber forces within Minnesota. We have 3 cyber teams. I'm going to start on the right-hand side, which is the Cyber Coordination Cell. That is my team. We are all full-time, team of 4, and as the name shows, we perform coordination of cyber. So we are not the incident response team ourselves. We plan, coordinate, and perform strategy development. We set the conditions that enable the Minnesota Military Cyber Forces to respond effectively. The Cyber Protection Team and the DCOE, or Defensive Cyber Operations element, those are the responders. So the DCOE, which is in the middle, those are part-time soldiers and airmen. It's a joint operation, and there's about 5 individuals on that team. These, again, are going to be your cyber responders. And then on the left-hand side, we have the Cyber Protection Team. Again, these are your traditional soldiers. They're Monday through Friday working a civilian job, and then on drill weekends, they come in and train. They, again, are your cyber responders, and it's a bit larger team with 40 soldiers, so this is an Army-specific mission. This is a picture of our computer lab, just to give you an idea of what makes up our cyber incident response kits. So this is what we used for the City of St. Paul ransomware event. And these are state-owned assets which can be deployed rapidly anywhere within Minnesota. And they, of course, can support any agency that requests guard activation support. This is where we house about 50 laptops, as well as manage our tools, software, and perform any updates. As I mentioned earlier, one of our primary lines of effort includes cultivation of relationships. In July of 2025, the City of St. Paul had a ransomware attack, and while of course this event is something that no city would wish for, it really illuminated the importance of strong relationships and partnerships, as it was the foundation that was laid prior to this event, which allowed us to be successful. The partnerships that we build with both state and federal agencies included BCA, FBI, CISA, MNIT, just to name a few. These partnerships is what helped the city restore their services at a much quicker timeline than what it would have taken if we had not been activated. Throughout this whole process, the city, of course, was in command, and they had phenomenal leaders and really strong IT support, but unfortunately, they just did not have enough bodies. And so that's where the Guard came in. We were really that surge support to help the city get back up on their feet. Through Executive Order 25-08, the Minnesota Cyber Forces were activated into SAD, or State Active Duty. This allowed them to directly support the City of St. Paul during the ransomware incident. This incident was significant as it marked a historic first for Minnesota. Never before had the Minnesota National Guard been activated for this type of incident. During this time, the C3 provided mission coordination between the city, state, and federal agencies, and we also provided operational support. That resource fulfillment piece is where our cyber incident response kits came in. And then we also provided public affairs support. So you can see on the slide on the bottom right, that's actually Lieutenant Colonel Brian Morgan, and he's being interviewed. He was interviewed by multiple outlets. And this was a great way to really take that burden off of our cyber responders, because their mission was to focus on helping the city. So by Colonel Morgan providing that public affairs support, it allowed them to stay focused and in the mission. We also provided command and control support, as well as a comprehensive postmortem for record. So that provided lessons learned for both federal and state agencies. Now turning to engagements. This is essential to building and strengthening those partnerships which supports our mission. Over the past year, our team has conducted more than 200 engagements with a variety of partners. We've spoke and participated at 34 conferences. A major win this year was spearheading the first ever Cyber Village at the 2025 Cybersecurity Summit. The photo on the bottom left shows the C3 team at the summit, and Chief Harberts actually really helped make this a success by partnering with Minute Cyber Navigators, and collectively our team was able to provide public entities with state cyber resources. As we work with many entities within the state, we educate them on the criteria and process required to request National Guard emergency support. This slide is an example of the material we present to ensure many of these entities understand how the process works. It outlines a specific criteria that needs to be met. And like any other Minnesota National Guard response, the situation must exceed the capacity of the entity, and all available civil resources must be exhausted. Additionally, the required capability cannot be reasonably obtained through either commercial sources, or the situation must present an immediate or substantial threat to public health, safety, or welfare. Finally, the mission must be something that the National Guard is uniquely suited to perform. By walking our partners through this process ahead of time, we help ensure that they understand how and when the National Guard support may be requested for a cyber incident if it should reach that level. Once the activation criteria is met, of course, then this slide outlines the process that an entity would follow to request National Guard support. Just to give you an idea of how we present this, I'll quickly walk through this slide. So starting on the left, the cyber incident, let's say, for example, it's a school. So the first question we would ask the school is, are you using Minute or MNet services? If yes, then they need to talk to Minute. If no, then they have a couple options. For school, as an example, most likely they would contact their county sheriff. If it's a city of the first class, the mayor can request the National Guard, and then if it's an agency, the agency commissioner. So one of those three entities can submit a request through the state duty officer. The state duty officer sits at the BCA, and from there, that request is submitted to HSCM, who validates that request. That request is then sent over to the governor's office, and assuming it's a valid emergency, the governor will then issue an executive order, which then is submitted to TAG, who then will activate the National Guard. And from there, that's where the C3 can also come in and help coordinate that piece when it comes to identifying skills and making sure we're activating the right people with the right skill set to respond to the incident. So that's just, like I said, a high-level overview of the process. But with that, I just want to say thank you to this subcommittee and to our Minnesota National Guard leaders for the opportunity to speak today and for your continued support. And if time allows, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Lieutenant Weiss. You know, part of our job is to advocate for resources for things that we believe in, but often that's challenging if we don't totally understand what we're advocating for.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you a question, but I understand that there's stuff that you probably can't tell us and stuff that if you told us, we wouldn't understand because we're all old. And I'm looking at you, Rob. I know I'm just being mean. Could you tell us about something sort of like a concrete thing that you guys did in response to the cyber attack in St. Paul? Not too technical, but what does support mean in that space that's special that C3 was able to do to help resolve that problem?
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Chair. That's a great question. So the C3, I will say a concrete thing that our C3 team specifically did is I know Lieutenant Colonel Brian Morgan actually got on the phone call with the city as well as other leaders within the city and the National Guard and helped walk through the process of what this looks like, and also was able to share with the city and let them know that we do indeed have individuals who have these skill sets and that can respond to this. So that's part one, just at the very beginning. But then really throughout this whole activation process, the C3 were boots on the ground with our cyber operators. We were in every single meeting with the city as well as with our cyber operators and making sure that everyone's communicating and understanding whose lane is where. There can be a lot of confusion as to who's taking what task. And our cyber operators actually, just to give you an idea of what they do, they were able to re-image about 500 computers, 500 laptops, and they also rebuilt some different configurations within the network. And so, again, those specific skills that our cyber operators brought to the table dramatically reduced the timeline. It would have taken the city months to get back up and running. And that's pretty common. We see right now 3 to 6 months for a small city to get back up fully operational. So that's a great asset that we bring to the table.
Thank you, Lieutenant Weiss. That's very helpful and exactly what I was asking for,
Good.
so thank you. Members, questions or comments about the C3 program? Seeing none, questions or comments for our friends at the Department of Military Affairs in general? Seeing none, General Menke, do you have any sort of closing statements you'd like to make?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. We appreciate your time. It's always good to come see you, and if there's anything you need, please reach out, and we'll make an appointment, come over and get you what you need. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, folks, we have 3 bill presentations upcoming now. Senate File 4075, Senator Pa, Senate File 3956, Senator Gustafson, and Senate File 4056, Senator Kunesh. For all of these presentations, members and members of the public, I'm going to ask you to be as efficient as you possibly can be with your testimony. We're aiming for 2 minutes a pop, if you could, please. We're going to be as efficient as we can to make sure we have enough time to talk through and deal with these complex issues as we can. So, Senator Pa, if you would, please. Senate File 4075. The Secret War in Laos Veterans Benefit Availability Modifications and Eligibility Process Establishment by the Commissioner of Veterans Affairs. Members, I will remind you all that the authorization for this subcommittee traveled through the Veterans Bill, which passed unanimously through our body. So I'm hoping our conversation or discussion or questions can be focused on the results of this task force, which is what Senator Pa is presenting to us today. Senator Pa, when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Putnam and members. Thank you for the opportunity to present my bill, which is SF 4075. Chair, before I move forward, I do believe that Senator Howell has an amendment that he'd like to offer. I'd like to give him a moment to do that.
Senator Howell.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Pa. I'd like to offer the A3 amendment, and as it's in your packets or it's been handed out, and what this amendment does is it basically does a ranking for those folks applying for preference for jobs. And so what this basically does is you have your disabled veterans, your regular disabled veterans, then you have your veterans, then you have your disabled SGUs, veterans, and then you have your regular SGU veterans. This just places them in that order for veterans' preference points for jobs. So that's what this amendment basically does.
Thank you, Senator Howell. Senator Pa.
Thank you, Chair. I will take that A3 amendment as a friendly amendment, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Pa. Any discussion, members, to the A3 amendment? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The A3 amendment is adopted. Senator Pa, let's continue to Senate File 4075 as amended.
Thank you, Chair and members. Today, I'm honored to present this bill to formally recognize the service and sacrifice of our Special Guerrilla Unit and Irregular Forces veterans who fought alongside the United States during the Secret War in Laos. As many of you know, last year the legislature took important steps forward when we passed a legislation establishing the SGU Veterans and Irregular Forces Task Force. I had the privilege to serve as the chair of that task force, and after months of meetings, testimonies, research, and discussion, the task force produced recommendations that received overwhelming support from the members of the task force. The bill before you today reflects those recommendations. Mr. John Kelly is here from the MDVA, and he will later go over the recommendations with all of you in his testimony. Chair and members, if I could take a moment before we continue just to recognize the many of the SGU members and veterans here today with us in the audience, if I can ask them to stand so that you know who they are.
Thank you, Senator Pop. Members, if you would, please, that'd be great.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Putnam. These are the brave heroes that we're talking about today. They fought bravely, they sacrificed greatly, and for far too long, their service has not been properly recognized. Chair, I do have a few testifiers with me, and I will go ahead and lend time for them to speak. The first one that we have here is Major Getu Lee.
Major Lee, if you would please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee. My name, I'm a Reverend Getu Lee, and also known as Major Getu Lee. My CIA code name is Husky. As an officer, a forward air guide, field operation officers, I also had the privilege to serve on the HU Advisory Task Force, and I strongly support and honor the task force recommendation that the SGU should receive veterans benefit because these SGU were loyal allies to Americans who receive minimal compensation of less than $20 per month, yet they play a crucial role in preventing the communists advancing and protecting U.S. interests. Yes, during my 14 years tenures, I worked and walked closely with the SGU, soldier, and numerous of braving Laotian and American heroes, conducting danger mission to rescue personnel and guiding air bomber in Laos and along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Throughout my service, I suffered many injuries, including being grazed by an AK-47 bullet and survived two helicopter crashes. I firmly believe that the sacrifice of over 35,000 of our HQ life and 1,000 of them are wounded saved countless American soldiers' life in South Vietnam during the Vietnam War. After the Secret War, the SU soldiers and their family faced severe persecution and genocide. These led to mass exodus out of their homeland. At the same time, 3,500 high-ranking officers and their family were airlifted to Thailand, most of whom endured unimaginable hardship, hiding, fighting, and across the Cheras-Mekong River. The journey was tragic to the Hmong, with many fatalities resulting from military attack, disease, starvation, chemical warfare, drowning, robbery, rape, and imprisonment. Those who survived eventually found some safety in refugee camp in Thailand, with some later resettlement in America. With each passing years, we, the HU veterans, get older. We may, with many now deceased, and our number dwindling, I respectfully request that you, as the chair and committee members, please honor the service of and the sacrifice of these fellow SGU veterans and grant them the veterans benefit as recommended by the advisory task force, which was approved by and signed by the Governor Tim Walz. Your thoughtful consideration is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, both for your testimony and for your service.
Thank you.
Next, we have Pilot Lee. If you would please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Again, sir. Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Lieutenant Lee Ya. I was former T-28 pilot in Laos. I'm here to asking you to look at the Truth Senate File 4075. Hmong SGU was a unique group of veterans who got drafted, some underage, some overage, and a few in betweens. Not like the way you draft in the United States. The secret war policy in Laos was made by two political groups, from President John F. Kennedy to Lyndon Johnson, who were Democrat, and President Richard Nixon, who was Republican. Under the military code name Water Pump, CIA gave a Hmong pilot this card, this dog tag, so a mountaineer like me can travel through across Thailand without any passport. We have ground training, flight training in the Civil Aviation Center in Thailand. As you can see, my picture, the emblem on my left hand here say PP4. It means I am a private pilot class number 4. Our salary got paid by CIA personnel that deliver the money to Long Chang because Long Chang never have a banking systems. I'll tell you about our two Hmong pilots. The first, Major Wang Su. Most people know who he was. He got shot down 2 times. He got saved by the Yankee seat or the ejection seat twice. The 3rd time, he got killed. While he was over the target range, our military got to his body a few days later. They cut off his head, they stick it in the water mud. The second pilot was Major Li Yang. He also got hit. He parachuted down, got hung in the tree. By the time our soldier got to him, the enemy sent him so many bullets, let him die up in the tree. After all these painful things, our elected official chose to invest $391 million in Laos. Since 1995, helping to remove UXO, unexploded ordnance, victims assistance, and education. With all this money, nothing has been given to Hmong SGU, who were involved in this war and were suffering with PTSD, carry the burden, the scar of this war for 50 years. Not many of us left, Madam and Sir. This is a very simple concept. We do not come here to begging for a welfare check. We only ask for what we earn and sacrifice our life for. You still are Democrat and Republicans, the same two parties who create this policy and this war at the beginning. You are our elected official today. I don't care. Our blood was shed. So this issue should never become part of political games today. You have the power to support this bill and change this policy so it can be just fair for Hmong SGU. Thank you for listening.
Thank you again for your service and your testimony, Pilot Lee. Next up, we have Colonel Cow. Could you please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready, please?
Good afternoon, Chairman, Mr. Chairman, and another member of community. My name is Paitun Potisan. I'm Captain, Commander of Commando Raider in Laos and M3, Region 3 and middle of Laos. So I'm here today and I want to certify about that we are recognition after 50 years. For more than 50 years, many SGU veterans have waited to be recognized for their service. Many of our brothers and have already passed away without ever receive that recognition. This bill very important because it honor to sacrifice of HU veteran while many of us are still here to see that acknowledgement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And our last testifier is Mr. Morris. If you would, please, if you're available, could you please come to the table, state your full name for the record, and commence your testimony when you're ready, please.
That's all right.
Chair Putnam, members of the subcommittee, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to testify on Senate File 4075. For the record, my name is Andy Morris, and I serve as the Legislative and Public Affairs Director for the Council on Asian Pacific Minnesotans. The Council, a nonpartisan, non-cabinet executive branch agency established to advise state government on issues related to Asian Pacific Minnesotans, was founded in 1985 in no small part as a response to the arrival of large numbers of refugees from Southeast Asia, primarily Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, following the end of the Vietnam War in 1975. Last year, 2025, was a milestone for our refugee experience community as we marked 50 years since the end of the Vietnam War and the beginning of a journey towards freedom that continues to this day. This refugee experience community includes those with roots in Laos, such as the Hmong, Lao, Thai Dam, Yu Mien, Khmer, Lu, and others. These arrivals post-Vietnam War included many who fought in support of the U.S. secret war in Laos during the Vietnam War, specifically the Lao Hmong Special Guerrilla Units and Forces Armée Royale in Military Region 2, under the command of Major General Vang Pao in northeastern Laos. The Council thanks the 2025 legislature for the inclusive language recognizing the valor and sacrifices of veterans from these different ethnic ancestries. These brave soldiers fought for the sovereignty of Laos, and they defended U.S. interests in the face of communist aggression in Southeast Asia, especially South Vietnam. Many lost their lives in that conflict, but their actions saved the lives of countless American soldiers. Since the end of the Vietnam War and the U.S. Secret War in Laos, and following the arrival of these communities in the United States and Minnesota, we have lost many more veterans of the Secret War and continue to lose more each year. Therefore, it is imperative that the legislature act now to adopt the recommendations of the task force, especially to allow consideration by those who do not fall under the automatic or standard criterion for eligibility and will need to navigate the special consideration process, particularly given the intentional lack of official documentation of the secret war. Adopting the recommendations of the task force will allow those still with us to enjoy justly earned benefits and extend the dignity that goes alongside state recognition to those veterans. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify this afternoon, and we urge the legislature's support of Senate File 4075.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Thank you also for focusing our attention on the recommendations themselves. So in aid of going through those with some rigor and clarity, Mr. Kelly, are you available to talk us through the actual results of the task force, to explain the process that was generated from it? Please.
Thank you, Chair and members. For the record, John Kelly, Director of Government Affairs for the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. If members recall, the legislature, this was a unique path for a bill. Usually we do a task force and we come back and then we put into law the recommendations. We did the bill about halfway, and then we did the task force, and now we're back. So the department was tasked with standing up the task force. So the task force was a mix of direct appointments and open appointments. So we had 4 members of the legislature, including Senator Howe, Senator Pa from the Senate, who is chair, and then we had Representative Duran and Representative Cha on the House side. We had a direct appointee of the commissioner, who is our Deputy Commissioner Ben Johnson, and we had a direct appointee from the Commander's Task Force, who was Mr. Trent Dilks from the Disabled American Veterans. And then we had an open Secretary of State process. This was a interesting and challenging list of folks to find, but we did find and fill the task force completely. So we had to hold open the application process a little longer. We started a little later, about 2 weeks later, but we made up for lost time. And so the committee met 8 times in a hybrid format, both in person at the Veterans Service Building and via Teams. We covered a lot of ground in these meetings of the task force. We heard from experts. We heard from veterans of the Secret War, both from our own Minnesotan veterans, but also from CIA field officers who served in the Secret War in Laos remotely. We also heard from the National Cemetery Administration. And then we worked through, starting with draft recommendations, and worked towards the language that was in the report that went to the legislature. It was delivered on February 10th. So the bill before the committee is a makeup of a couple of things. So the first is, largely this bill reflects the recommendation, the draft language in the task force report. The second component of the report is some technical recommendations from the department. So because of the way that this law was passed, we had 2 criteria. The first criteria is SGU veterans or applicants that were naturalized under the Hmong Naturalization Act of 2000. And then the second eligibility criteria were those that were deemed to be served honorably in the Secret War through a process that was determined by the task force and then approved by the legislature. So under criteria 1, we had to start and implement this law over the summer after it took effect. And so we have an SGU page on the website. We have worked up the eligibility determination form. We worked with DPS to make sure that they had their pieces in place if we got applicants under criteria 1. And we also were ready with our own internal team to, if we had to make an eligibility determination, we would have worked with the VA. To date, we have not had any applications under that criteria. So we have now before the committee recommendations. The bill reflects the list of benefits has changed slightly. So for example, in the list of benefits that was passed in the session law, chapter 30, there was an honor and remember flag, which sounds good until you get into the nitty gritty on what an honor and remember flag is. It's a flag that's flown on public buildings. It's not an individual benefit. We also, there are sections of law that deal with recently separated service members, where they have some more time and grace periods on their professional licensure from the state while they're on active duty or their driver's license. That doesn't affect our SGU veterans population, and so we recommended that come out. We also recommended some specificity around the burial in state veteran cemeteries. So in the bill, it was a listed benefit of eligibility, but the State Department or the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs does not provide the plot allowance or any other that cost. So we need to charge the same burial fee that we charge spouses and eligible dependents for burial, to just cover the cost of burial in our 4 state veteran cemeteries. So that's reflected in the bill. And then additionally in this bill, in the committee report, you'll see from the commissioner, he says that these recommendations are not final. The way this bill was designed, it was designed to come back to the legislature, and now it is before the legislature, and the legislative process is working. We saw an amendment here today. We've also seen negotiations and language that reflects negotiations between Senator Pa. I keep wanting to call her Chair Pa because I got used to that over 8 meetings. But Senator Pa and the other bodies, Representative Duran from the GOP side, that is the SGU designation on driver's licenses. And so that's the components of this bill. The bill consists of the recommendations from the task force, the technical recommendations from the department, and the work of negotiation between legislators as this bill moves through the process. I will also note there's a fiscal note on this bill from the Department of Veterans Affairs as well as from the Department of Public Safety. So that is the bill that's before the committee, and I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly. Members, do we have questions for Senator Pa or Mr. Kelly? Seeing none, our plan for the path for this bill is, and the other 2 bills we're dealing with, well, for this bill specifically, is our hope is to pass it forward to the full Agricultural Committee, where it will be considered on Wednesday. And then at that point, to pass it on to Transportation, I believe, where there are some issues around the driver's license that need to be addressed in that space. So that's our goal. Members not seeing any other questions or comments about the bill? Senator Kunesh moves that Senate File 4075 be recommended to pass and referred to the full committee. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Pa, did you like to make a final statement?
Oh, thank you, Chair Putnam. Just a really quick one. Thank you. For more than 50 years, many of these veterans have been waiting for recognition. And so members, Chair Putnam, I would appreciate your support for this bill as it moves through the different committees and ultimately decide at the end. Thank you so much.
I apologize for neglecting to give you that opportunity, and thanks, Nick, for reminding me. Members, Senator Kunesh moves that Senate File 4075 be recommended passed and referred to the full committee. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Senate File 4075 is passed and referred to the full committee. Thank you, Senator Pa.
Thank you.
Members, up next, Senate File 3956, Senator Gustafson.
Okay. Senator Gustafson, we are taking Senate File 3956 off the table to discuss, which we tabled last Wednesday, and I believe you're going to have an amendment for that.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So just to review, we of course presented the bill last week and did so convincingly that we picked up another author. So thank you to Senator Duckworth for joining the bill. But just to remind everybody, the bill would amend Minnesota Statute 196.22 to create clear authority for the Commissioner of the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs to partner with organizations that serve veterans. This will allow the Commissioner to direct agency staff and non-monetary resources to assist in initiatives related to food insecurity, homelessness, and suicide prevention. There is an amendment that we can move?
Sure. Does Mr. Kelly want to testify first, or is it about the amendment, or how would you like to proceed?
Mr. Chair, I believe it is about the amendment, and he can fill you in. I don't have a copy of it right now. I looked in my folder, and I don't. So if there is an amendment available to
Sure, and members should have
review.
this in their folders.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the meantime, we could
If you
probably.
like, I'll move the A2 amendment.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, would you like to make a few comments about the A2 before we proceed?
Thank you, Chair and members. For the record, John Kelly, Director of Government Affairs for MDVA. So we discussed this briefly during the hearing last week. So this is a pretty short amendment. We're just inserting the word non-monetary in front of resources to make clear that this is not moving any dollars. So we support the amendment. That was always our intent with this law, and so we support, just like last week, putting a finer point on things so that it's clear.
Okay, Senator Gustafson, anything else, or shall we
Nope, that's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
move it right along? Okay, Member Senator Howe has moved the A2 amendment. All those in favor of the A2 amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The A2 amendment is adopted. Okay, and with that then, we will move Senate File 3956 as amended to the full committee, be referred to the full committee. All those, any discussion, I guess, on that? Seeing none, all those in favor of moving this to the full committee signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The bill as amended is on to the full committee. Next up on the docket is Senate File 4056, Senator Kunesh. Okay, Senator Kunesh, Senate File 4056.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to provide the A1 amendment.
Sure. Senator Kunesh offers the A1 amendment. It should be in your file. Do you want to speak to it? Is it author's amendment, or are we just going to just move it along?
It is an author's amendment, and we're just adding the line, or a veteran of the secret war in Laos under section 197.448.
Okay, Senator Kunesh moves the A1 amendment. Any discussion? All those in favor of the A1 amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? A1 amendment is adopted.
I'll vote. All right. Folks, in front of you, I would like to offer the Senate File 4056. It is my objective to advocate for a crucial amendment to the Minnesota Human Rights Act, the inclusion of veterinary or military status as a protected class. This change is not just a matter of extending legal protection. It is a moral imperative grounded in our commitment to honor those who have served our nation. I think that by adding this to our human rights, we are acknowledging the sacrifice of active and past military members who have made a profound sacrifice to our freedoms. We know that currently veterans can face discrimination in various sectors, including employment, housing, and education. So by formally recognizing veteran status as a protected class, we empower individuals to seek justice under discriminatory practices. This amendment would signal that Minnesota stands firmly against any form of unjust treatment based on military service. And with that, Mr. Chair, we have a couple of testifiers.
Okay. Mr. Slade, would you like to go first?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Nicholas Slade. I'm the Deputy General Counsel for the Department of Military Affairs. And one of the things, and I don't think that it's quite all caught up but the House file is, they're intending to do an amendment to their specific language, which we strongly support and urge you to support, which adds to the language former member, because of the way the veteran status is defined both in federal law and currently in state law. Certain Guard members may not actually qualify as veterans because they don't have the necessary federal service. So the House file, I know that they are intending on amending to add former, and we strongly support that because, you know, we are state forces. The state should take care of us. With that, one other item that I want to urge the committee to address and look at is actually another form of protection, and tying back to the educational supports. Currently, again, this is sort of dual with our veteran status. We don't necessarily qualify for some of the federal higher education protection. And one of the reoccurring problems that I see in providing legal assistance and support to our soldiers when they're activated under state active duty is this sort of a unique little thing with, it usually occurs within 2-year certificate programs where the program, because it's sequential classes, when we order somebody to state active duty, and sometimes occasionally with annual training, they miss their school, they miss classes. And if they miss enough of that particular class, they have to withdraw or drop out of their educational program. And because oftentimes that one class is only offered once a year, they miss it, they have to wait till next year, and that imposes a significant burden on our soldiers. And within the state education protections, while we do have some, those protections really put the burden on the student, the soldier themselves, saying that, yes, if you miss these classes, while we can't necessarily hold that against you, you still have to make those classes up. But the burden under state law is really on the soldier or airman to make that do. This differs from the federal law, which places a little more burden on the actual institution to try and help that soldier catch up. And it sets a standard of undue hardship. And so we would ask that you as part of the committee look at that and potentially look at a solution to increase the protections under state law. With that, pending any questions, I'm yield. Thank you.
Senator Howe, do you have a question?
Well, it's more of a comment, but I absolutely agree with you. We've had soldiers that when they were on state active duty and got notified by their place of higher learning to state that they were going to have to drop out of their class and pay for that class all over again as they were down here serving on state active duty. And they said, well, aren't I protected under the Veterans Clause? And they said, no, because you're not considered a veteran because they hadn't been deployed for 181 days. So I absolutely agree that we need to fix that. And if we can talk offline here, I'd gladly draft that and make that happen. Thank you.
Mr. Slade, would you like to comment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Senator Howe. Yes, and I would be happy to help you with that language. I have some ideas, but you're right. And it does happen with enough regularity. I usually see it at least once every time we do state active duty, and like I said, also occasionally during annual training. So it's a regular occurrence, and it is a problem.
Mr. Kelly, would you like to testify as well here?
Thank you, Chair and members. For the record, again, my name is John Kelly, and I'm the Director of Government Affairs for the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of Senate File 4056, and thank you to Senator Kunesh for bringing this bill forward. If this bill is passed into law, Minnesota would join 5 other states that have added veteran status or military status as protected class under their state-level non-discrimination statutes. So in California, veteran or military status is in the Fair Employment and Housing Act. Massachusetts has status of a veteran in the unlawful discrimination because of race, color, religious creed, national origin, ancestry, or sex statute. Ohio has military status in unlawful discriminatory practices. There we go. Virginia, military status in the Virginia Human Rights Act. Washington, honorably discharged veteran or military status in Discrimination Human Rights Commission. Additionally, Minnesota State added veteran status to their Policy 1B, Equal Opportunity, Non-Discrimination in Employment and Education policy in June of 2022. This update to the Minnesota Human Rights Act furthers the interests of veterans and provides them an additional protection under state law. This is a great addition to the existing ecosystem of support for veterans and those still currently serving. Thank you.
Members, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I know that so the plan here is we will move this bill as amended to the full committee. Where we do expect that when it goes to the full committee that we will take up the amendment that the House also had. That is the plan when we go forward here. Going there. And I would agree, I'll also chime in with Senator Howe that that should be fixed. That's just absolutely not right. That if somebody takes off time that is serving their state and country, that they should not be penalized for what they're doing. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you.
And Senator Howe, I'm with you on that one if you get her done there. So thanks for that. All right, so Senator Putnam then. Senator Kunesh, do you have any closing remarks?
Yes, I just want to remind you that it is our collective responsibility to ensure that those who have given so much for our safety and security are treated with the dignity and respect that they deserve. By including veteran status as a protected class, we send a powerful message that Minnesota values its heroes and is committed to their rights. So in conclusion, I urge you to support the amendment to include veterans or military status as a protected class under the Minnesota Human Rights Act.
Okay, thank you, Senator Kunesh. So with that, Senator Putnam moves that Senate File 4056 as amended be recommended to pass and be referred to the full committee on Agriculture, Broadband, and Veterans Affairs. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill as amended is passed. Senator, would you like me to go ahead and do the forecast here? See if I can remember how to do this. Okay. I do. Maybe it's just too much of an inside baseball joke. I don't know. Members, that is all the business we have before us. Coming up here on Wednesday will be the MDVA policy bills that we have passed will be before the full Ag Committee on Wednesday. So we will have the bills we passed today and believe maybe a couple of others. Or yes, right. And then we have Senate File 4069, the Vet Tech bill, and Senate File 239, a cell cultural food bill, up before the Ag Committee. And so with that, the Subcommittee on Veterans is adjourned.